Hello, friends.
What's up, Nick?
Welcome.
Welcome to iWed. Uh, as you could tell, you probably can't tell because it's going to start at the same time it normally starts.
There's no
This is
scrambling.
We're not scrambling. So guess what you guys get? I am in Maestro class, and I start tomorrow night, which is
Thursday
Thursday for
evening.
you guys, because it's going to be. I start at 12:30 Thursday morning or night, because it's in Rome. The class is in Rome. Maestro class.
Wait, so in a few hours, 12:30
No,
a.m.,
12:30
12:30 Friday
Thursday,
morning.
Friday
Okay.
morning, yeah. Because it's
Okay.
not it'll be 9:30 in Rome. It's 12:30
12:30
midnight here,
Pacific.
Pacific, yes. So
I'll be sleeping.
yeah, I won't. Um, but we wanted to record this for you because I like the consistency and I like talking to this lady, but uh she's marvelous. But I want you guys, this is an impromptu night. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. It is nighttime now, but we don't know what's going to happen in the next 20 something minutes with you guys. But I thought about, she's like, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, I don't know. But I want to introduce you guys to why I wanted to start this. And I don't know how long we've been doing this so far.
A little
Has
over
it
a
been
year.
a year?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. And it started like this, y'all. We met in a class. I think it was a class that Granadetti had, and um, we were meeting with some other sisters for a little bit, and then we kept on meeting and meeting and meeting and meeting, and we said, "Hey."
And I said, "Hey, John, I think you should do a live for your blah 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 class." And then John said, "We should do this all the time." And I said,
And
"Sure."
so we got here. So
Don't keep me
we're
from
just
crying for that
opening up
hour.
this space, and you guys gonna get to see what's inside of our head a little bit. We're not gonna show you everything, just a tad bit, just a tad bit.
Just a
We won't throw anybody
scooch.
under the bus. We really don't. We really don't throw anybody under the bus. We actually, one of the things I like about it is because if I bring up something, we talk about relationship, my relationship, her relationship. We talk about the possibilities. What is it? What can you ask? I mean, it's kind of funky, y'all, because it's really very healthy, very. You don't get that. That's what I appreciate about her friendship. You don't really get that from too many people. We've never met each other. We were supposed to meet each other last.
John's schedule was full. My body was trying to kill me. It did not
Yeah,
work
she got
out.
sick, so that wasn't happening. And so that's the other weird thing. It's like you might think that, oh, we know each other. We have never met in person. That's to still to be determined or see when that happens. I'm looking forward to it, to see the magical lady in person. It's like going to see Michael Jackson. She's bad. Uh, Now as I moonwalk across the screen. Uh, but we decided we want to talk about consciousness, and consciousness can be anything. So we really talk about anything. Uh, what's been really on my mind, and this is where it gets kind of well, I'll talk about politics a little bit. We don't usually go there, but I'll talk a little bit politics. So I live in the state of Washington. I work in the state of Oregon, and I saw something that came across my screen. Um, Now, Oregon roughly probably has probably like 3 to 4 million people living in the state, I would say. Five stretching it, but I'm saying 3 to 4 million in the entire state. 4 million people live in the state. And it might be more now because people have been moving there like crazy. But they had a bill or something they voted on in the state of Oregon. And it was about the way it was written in some charged language about would you continue to support slavery and have inmates work for free, and it was stated like slavery. And 45% of the people of Oregon voted yes for that. It didn't pass because the majority of people said no. And then they put the number down below 688,000 people voted for this. And I was just taken back because I work in Multnomah County as a juvenile probation officer. And and I started in 1990, we've done all this work about trying to change the community. And some of it's politics and some of it's deeper, it's bigger than hip hop, as the rapper was once said, because I saw that and I don't have regular TV. I don't watch your TV. I don't look at your news. I don't read your newspapers. Uh, I catch things on the fly. And but I'm really up to date on shit. You'll be impressed on like how much I really know. And some of it just speculate. But then I started to watch things unfold with uh oh, that's my son. Let me turn this off. I'll call you back. Sorry there. So my son's calling. So turn that ringer down. So I've been watching things on the news and turn it down. Yeah. Okay. So I've been watching stuff on the news. I'm not watching stuff on the news because I don't have the news. I've been listening to things. So started listening, looking at YouTube things, and I was like, what's this thing going on with first it was Kanye. And I'm not a big I saw Kanye West when he first came out and he opened up for YouTube. And I was really kind of impressed by this guy. And then I saw the story unfold. And he's a what I call like extreme X-Men unicorn type of dude. And I have no judgment for the cat. He's different. He has a different insight, outside, whatever you want to call sight. But as he started talking about certain things, I was just like, he's always been different. And people have said he's been different. I don't think a person should be attacked because they're different. That's just me. If you have a difference of opinion. And then what happened, and here's how things happen when I think that things start opening up, where people start exposing stuff, where people like, so he started talking about Hollywood and the secrets of Hollywood and things. Now, what most people don't realize is that there's conversations that are had with people from outside your circle and people within inside your circle. And because those circles aren't shared, most people don't think that people have any insight to something that's different than what's publicly spoken. So he said some stuff and he brought in a community of people that he started speaking about, and they got upset. So they started cutting back his stuff. And I'm okay with you. That's what you want to do. But then the question that I always have is that, why do people go public on either side instead of having dialogues and bringing information together to find out what's true and what's not true? So I looked at that. I was like, okay, that's the Kanye thing. But I was just like, and is this guy spewing 100% of bullshit, or is there any truth in anything? And I'm always the type of person, and that's why I was like, I don't listen to anything, because your news tells you everything is skewed from whatever point of view people are trying to protect. Then later on, sometime I watched Kyrie Irving talk about something I never knew. Still today, I went on. Here's the most interesting piece. I went on Amazon and I saw the video. I looked at the review and they did playback, and the same group of people were upset with Kyrie Irving saying something about, it's called Negroes to Hebrews, something like that. And for me, I'm always looking at things from the outside. I like to look at things from the outside. So he watches a clip of a video or watch a movie on Amazon. He goes on his own Twitter and talks about the video. And then they come and attack him. Well, okay, cool. Okay, so you're upset with what somebody says. But still to this date, they never say anything about Amazon. So as somebody who's been working corrections for the longest, you don't just go after the person on the corner street selling drugs. You go after the dealers, the people, everybody, if you really want to root up the issue. So then I start wondering, well, why are they doing this cat? What has he said or done in the past? It's not making any sense. And so I was first frustrated, and then I had to say, woosah, and let it go, because that's not mine. And I was like, well, I side with this cat because not that I agree 100% with what's going on, but how people go about having disagreements is very juvenile still. It's very, very
Mm.
juvenile.
Mm.
And when will there be a day where people come together and start talking about their differences? You can sling mud from either side forever until the cows come home. But how are adults sitting back slinging mud on however you want to say? And then the thing that really bothered me is that the clips they show after people coming in of how a friend of mine told me that we haven't really progressed as a species of people. And after watching this, I would agree because old tactics from the media was used of bringing other people that looks like Kyrie to down this person, but never bringing the people who have the argument to have a conversation with the person. And then the question with it is that the greatest thing that I think that happened out of all this is that the higher the monkey climbs, the more they exposes. And
Mm.
I watched that. And I was like, and then and the work that I've done energetically, everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing's the opposite of what it appears to be. And so, what one thing you start watching things going this way, and actually the universe is doing this other thing, which actually is going to bring a healing to the species of the people. And I realize that now because you have to expose stuff for things to be able to change.
Mm.
Now, I have no point of view with either side of it.
Mm.
I think that there's an opportunity for shit to be different.
Mm.
And I think that now, as things become more exposed, like, and I think it's the funniest thing for me because I don't watch, like I said, I don't watch it. So I stopped watching sports when Kaepernick took a knee and how people couldn't come together because he was trying to do something different for another group of people, and people like booed and went against it. And I realized the silence of the lambs.
Mm.
And so I stopped watching that. So I really stopped watching. So I'm not surprised about the antics that are going on right now because that's only a couple of years ago, and people take a long time to evolve, a long time to evolve. And there are so many issues out there, and so there's so many issues of what I see. Hear me using some music of Bob Marley saying, "There's so much trouble in the world. These small
Mm.
troubles create the larger troubles." And uh, Sunday, I did this thing called Soul Shine Sunday, and I realized that I was watching this thing called Earth Storms on Netflix when I was on the plane, and how ferocious the storms are becoming around the planet, which I sense is reflective of the people being so tumultuous or so ferocious with each other and lying and continue to throw darts at each other, that the planet's only reflecting that energy.
Mm.
And I don't know how much more time we have if we don't choose something different. And it's not about right or wrong anymore. It's about being with each other. And I don't think I mean, you have in Iran, the women are being killed because they're speaking up. People are being killed because they're women and men being killed because they're speaking up different. I think that there's a change coming and
The change is
it
happening.
happening. And and I think that I like the brother Malcolm X. He was like, you're not going to be able to control it. Politics can get in and control it, but eventually water will find its lowest point.
Mm.
Truth will find its lowest and highest point at the same time. Just a matter of time. You just have to
Mm.
stand back and be patient and watch what's being revealed. Like my brother said in the reggae song, the higher the monkey climbs, the more the boy exposes. And so you see all his pingaling and pinkaling and ting ting and poo poo, because right now everything's exposed. All these people have to do is look up and ask questions about what's the other possibility. And here's the piece: I don't want people coming back to like, oh, John, I'm not anything that this reality wants to try to place on. I mean, I'm not doing that with people's. And I just find it to be quite interesting how we're finding these truths to come up.
Um, that was a lot.
I know.
And I don't politics at all
Yeah,
outside of my vote
yeah,
when I cast it.
yeah.
Um, I also don't watch the news. I have not regularly watched the news since the 1900s.
Yeah.
My sweet mother was like, "How will you know what's going on in the world, mommy? Because you're going to tell me.
Yeah.
You and your kind will tell me, I promise."
Yeah.
Um, but you said something that I want to extrapolate on about, first of all, adult conversations and adult communication, which is
Yeah.
kind of how you started this chat.
Yeah.
Um, I'm about to tell a whole bunch of my business. Um, I was living with my children's grandmother, their dad's mom, and I was having what I thought were private conversations about my relationship with my children's father.
Hmm.
Turns out they were not private conversations. His mom could hear everything.
Wow.
Uh huh. Um, and the thing about it was, it sounded to her like I was bashing her kid, but what she fully missed was, what is your part in this? Was coming from the other side of the phone. What
Hmm.
is your part in this? What does this remind you of? What pattern are you breaking here?
Hmm.
Like, if all you hear is one side of the conversation, the side of the conversation where the venting is coming from, then it really does sound like a bitch fest. Because let me tell you, let me not tell you, but there'll be a Patreon if you're interested because I've got stories. Um, but the other side of the conversation sounds a lot like, what is your part in this drama that you think you're experiencing, or that seems like it's unfolding in your life and in your world? And I think if more people started looking at, first of all, what is my business? What is my part in this? What does this remind me of? How can I break this pattern? How can I undo this? How can I keep this from repeating infinitum into my future? Like, what is mine? What do my hands and mouth need to do here?
Hmm.
I think that would resolve it. But on another note, there is a book. I'm gonna have to find it really fast, and I can. Um, I can't. The book was just published, and he is everywhere. Why is the title not like immediately coming up on Google? Um, one second. The Myth of Normal by Dr. Gabor Mate.
Write
And
that down, y'all. Write that down because she says something that's usually kind of deep. What's the title of it?
The Myth of Normal. Gabormate.
I'm
So
spell that last name again. I'm sorry.
Mate. So I have not read the book yet, but I have binged his book launch interviews because I'm
Hmm.
reading other things. My brain's full of fiction right now. Um, and he talks about our society and how this is a traumatized society. And it is really hard to be an adult and have adult conversations when you are existing within your unhealed trauma.
Exactly.
He spoke about numerous interviews about Hillary Clinton and how she campaigned with pneumonia, and nobody knew that she had pneumonia until she collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what happened, but like he contrasts that to her being a child, like 4 years old, grade school kid, and coming in the house and telling her mom, these kids are picking on me. And her mom basically being like, we don't we don't suffer weakness in this house. Go deal with it. First of all, no. I could not imagine. I might not have felt like there's anybody that I went to when I was scared when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
But I also very much felt like nobody's fucking with me for real,
Yeah.
like at all. So I can't imagine what it's like to feel just completely unprotected.
Yeah.
But that is the pattern that makes you nearly kill yourself on the campaign trail
Mm-hmm.
because you can't suffer weakness. And so, what, like, as a nation, we are traumatized. The melanated folks in this country who did not recently immigrate here
Mm-hmm.
in the last generation or three
Mm-hmm.
have massive trauma in ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
And the unmelanated folk who did not recently immigrate here in the last 2 or 3 generations have different kinds of trauma
Mm-hmm.
in their selves.
Mm-hmm.
We love to make the original European on this continent the villains, and to some degree they are.
Mm-hmm.
But can you imagine how broken you have to be to enact those atrocities on another human being? To
Yeah.
make humans less than human so that they could be violent
If if if
physically
if
and
if it,
mentally and emotionally with them?
exactly, and that's what's going on right now. You're asking somebody who's unhealthy to help you out, and they continue to act out of their sick mental health state, and you can't expect them to do something different in that state because if it's a mental health condition like you just if trauma has set in, they're acting out of that trauma. The whole concept of racism makes no sense.
Right.
Because
Because there's a
if I'm
race,
correct, there was a scientist that
the
said
human
all
race.
the people came from these group of people that comes from this dark continent. Everybody, I mean, I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can come here and say show me something different. I think if you take a DNA test, every dog goes back to being a wolf. I'm not a scientist, but I'm using that analogy. Every being, I'm gonna go this is lightly because I have the different belief with this too, that looks like human comes from this DNA that comes from this continent, from the way these scientists explain it to me. Because what I remember when I was in school, it was this guy by the name of Aliki, I believe, that went to Asia. He went to Europe, Asia, went every place, and he had to go to the continent, and he found the oldest remains, I believe.
Even
I think that's the story. And so the issue with it is to me, it's like, and so now I'm gonna throw this is where I throw the monkey wrench in here. So, and I also believe we come here multiple times. And I think we have different experiences. Now, this is gonna freak people out. And how do you know you weren't that other thing that you don't like last time, or you will be that thing that you despise this time, the next time? I just think it's kind of weird. Now that's where I know people, oh shit, there he goes with that. Yes, I went there with that, but I think that it's like a huge pot of gumbo. You
I
got
agree.
sausage, crab, chicken, okra, onions, celery. Some people put tomatoes, but that ain't a good gumbo to me. A roux, chicken broth, beef broth, crawdads, crabs. Everything makes this gumbo. And when they all simmer long enough, it has this symphony. Here I go. Play on symphony of possibilities in your mouth. And it creates this oneness that your body goes yummy. But if you let that gumbo go south and go right, it will make you sick. And what's happening to the gumbo right now is it's rye, it's going it's sour, and it's poison.
Mm.
And the best thing you can do is figure out how to
Throw out the whole pot.
open up, start over. And I don't know what that would look like for us as a being, but I think
Yeah.
Earth is pointing to that direction with its hurricanes, its tornadoes, and its earthquakes.
I think it starts with you doing your work and me doing my work and my kiddos doing their work and us parenting the way we're parenting and all of the there is no way that we can collectively come together and have a conversation if we cannot get on the same page, like culturally. I really don't like the word race, and
Yeah.
like to describe the differences
Yeah.
among
Yeah.
humans. I really don't like the word race because humans and race as the construct that it is only came into being in the United States. Archaeologists and sociologists out there, feel free to help me out. I don't know the details or the dates, but I do know that the black white construct was created to continue to oppress the enslaved or recently freed or whatever
Yeah.
on this continent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
culturally,
Yeah. But there's always
culturally, the
but
melanated folks in this country can't even come together.
yeah.
I, as a darker than a papered bag melanated human, have been told for at least 2 decades of my life on this planet that I am not black enough because I sound like I stepped out of the valleys of some part of California, even though I've never stepped foot there. I am a nerd. I like to read. But I grew up in the hood, sounding like this and looking like this. And straight A student.
Yeah.
So I heard a lot of Oreo jokes. I really just developed into like, nope, white girl, really nice tan. But like culturally, we haven't and can't come together. And until I do my healing and you do your healing, and then we all get together and collectively heal, then we can have those dialogues that you were talking about having in the beginning of the conversation.
Yeah.
But until then, it is just a lot of finger pointing and blame and shame and guilt and offense and defense, and nothing gets done and nothing is productive. So I think we start with, what healing do I need to do?
Yeah.
Where
I just found out the title for this, y'all. Y'all gonna see the title. I just wrote it down. Y'all have to come and see. You're gonna be, oh, that's it. Oh, that's where he came up. It came up right when she was talking. That's where I got see. And so here's the insight of how our shows show up. We have like something like this, and we were doing this like for maybe like 3 to 6 months, I want to say, before we decided this. And we were like, why not share this with the public? What would that contribute to other people? Bam, y'all got to see. You got to see prep work in action.
in action.
And it's 29 minutes. And we've been doing this. And so you guys got a glimpse of what happens when you, and I invite people to a space like this. Find somebody. Start having conversations. Find people who are, and we don't always agree on shit. That's the cool thing about it. Find somebody who is going to be cool like that, as the song says, but also willing to have their own vibe and speaking truth, their truth.
That reminds me, we have something else to talk about. Um, as for like finding those conversations, I'm really good at hosting them.
Yeah,
So if you want to have some, reach out. I'll set
yeah,
up a Zoom call, pass the
yeah,
collection plate at
yeah,
the end.
yeah. I think that, and I like facilitating groups like that. It's just like, and I have to get out of my own way with it because sometimes I get frustrated with people because I'm a visionary. I can
Mm-hmm.
see where we can be, and I get
Mm-hmm.
frustrated from where we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, I remember arguing with one of my teachers. I said, well, if everybody would just do this, he said, that's your point of view right there. Would you be willing to allow people to be where they are? Well, then how do they change when they're ready?
John doesn't like people being where they are.
I struggle with that because I used to think the world was going to be able to sing "Kumbaya," but I realized that not this lifetime,
Yeah.
not this life, and it's okay because nobody is wrong. From the person that might be that I might see as the worst racist, they're not wrong. They're coming from their point of view, and their point of view, and usually from that point of view, something like you said before, some trauma happened, or some trauma was told, and they know something to be different, and they don't know what to do with it, so they strike out.
Yeah. Um,
Now, I ain't agreeing with negative behavior, so I know people are like, "What is he saying?" No, I'm just saying it is. It's like a mountain. It's like Mount Hood out here where I live. It's a mountain. I
we
could
should
be
have
mad, I
more
could go
of
on.
that conversation in the future too.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
like, because I think, particularly in my intimate conversations, when I'm not having conversations with people who are actively doing this work, and I do that, and sometimes I just want to be like, but anyway, it sounds like, oh, this is an excuse. It's not an excuse, but it is an explanation.
Yeah,
And now that you know better, do better.
yeah, that, that. It should
Do better
happen.
when you can do better. I will
Yeah,
also say that. Like,
yeah. And I know the universal God is going to actually, she, he, they got our back.
amen.
So it's witching hour. I'm getting hungry, y'all. It's nighttime. I haven't eaten. I'm about to go fix me some dinner.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not turning into a
I'm not
pumpkin, but
turning the pumpkin right now. I got some pumpkin soup in there I might have.
let's not
But
monopolize the people's morning.
yes, yes, yes.
Thank you for being
Thank you
here
for
with us,
hanging out with
guys.
us. And we will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving for those who celebrate that. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, because that's kind of a questionable holiday here anyway, be kind to you and other people and celebrate being kind Thursday in the
Enjoy
US.
your day off and
Ace.
all your
Yeah,
food
exactly. Ace. Now, how do I get out of here?
and your post food nap
Escape. There we go. And I end
and all your
recording. Bye
friends.
bye.